All this time, you've been polishing the wrong weapon, fixing your hair, buying better shirts, texting her good morning like some script in a magazine told you that's what makes a woman stay. You're building a facade while the real war is being lost underground inside your own head. There's a voice in you. Quiet. Constant. You don't even realize how loud it's been until a woman looks away mid-sentence and your chest tightens. Did I say something wrong? It whispers. Should I text her? Should I apologize? That voice isn't your intuition. It's your insecurity wearing a nice suit. You think she's reading your words, your face, your actions. She isn't. She's reading that voice. The anxiety humming behind your eyes, the tight breath before you speak, the energy of needing to be liked. You're not just showing her your face. You're showing her your frame. And your frame is built on the belief that you need her to approve of you. By the end of this video, you'll know exactly how to kill that voice and become the kind of man who draws her in without trying. It starts here silence. Not just the kind where you stop talking, the kind where you stop apologizing with your body, where your shoulders stop sagging, where your smile isn't a plea. Let's be honest, she doesn't lose interest because you're too boring, or too short, or too poor. She loses interest because you're not present. You're stuck in your head negotiating your own worth. She can feel it. That's why her eye contact fades. That's why she texts less. That's why she pulls away after sex. You're too busy managing impressions instead of owning space. The core concept is this: women respond not to words, but to energy. Not to lines, but to presence. And presence is impossible when you're listening to that inner monologue whispering doubts like a nervous accountant. Picture this: you're sitting across from her. She leans in. She smiles. You say something. And mid-sentence, she glances at her phone. That voice flares up instantly. Was I boring? Did I talk too much? Is she texting another guy? You think she can't hear it. But she can. Not the words, but the shift. The insecurity that leaks through your tone like smoke from under a door. And here's the gut punch: the more you try to fix that moment by performing harder, being funnier, or asking her more questions, the more she disconnects. Because now you're not just insecure, you're trying to hide it. So what's the solution? Not charm, not game, not another fake laugh. It's this: let the voice die. When she glances at her phone, you feel that sting and you don't flinch. You don't apologize. You don't lean in harder. You don't fill the silence. You let it hang. You let it burn. And she'll feel something shift. She won't know why, but suddenly you're the one she's chasing. Because silence is power. Not the silence of submission. The silence of dominance. The man who doesn't need to explain himself. Who doesn't need to prove he's funny, smart, or different. The man who, when a woman drifts, doesn't panic, he simply watches. You must stop treating attraction like a math problem. You're not here to add the right compliments. Subtract the awkward silences. Multiply the jokes. You're not calculating your way into her body. You must stop performing. Because the man who performs is already beneath her. He's already admitted he's not enough. He's showing up like a salesman hoping to close a deal. She doesn't want a pitch. She wants a presence. Here's a challenge. Try this next time you're with a woman you desire. Let there be silence. 5 seconds. 10. Let it stretch so long it becomes uncomfortable. Don't fidget. Don't fill it. Don't even smile unless it's real. Just let her feel you. Because in that moment, she'll either lean in or she'll drift away. And either outcome is power. Because the voice inside you, the one begging you to say something clever, to rescue the moment, is the only thing killing your attraction. And when that voice dies, something new emerges: gravity. Not charm, not wit. Gravity, the thing that pulls her in without needing to pull. And the deeper you fall into that gravity, the more you'll notice this: you don't chase anymore. You don't worry anymore. You don't ask, what did I do wrong anymore? You simply move, and she follows. There's a moment every man faces when he decides whether he'll live as a performer or as a presence. That moment usually doesn't happen in a crowd. It happens when he's alone after she leaves, when the texts stop, when the bed is cold and the phone is quiet. That voice comes back louder than ever. What did I do wrong? But here's the truth: attraction was never about what you did. It was about what you embodied. You don't lose women because of a missed text or the wrong words. You lose them because she can feel the weight of your own self-doubt pressing against her skin like cold hands in the dark. When a woman pulls away, most men panic. They reach, they chase, they explain. Was it something I said? Can we talk? Every word becomes a funeral for your attraction. Because here's the paradox: the moment you try to fix her interest, you kill it. Silence isn't about playing hard to get. It's about not needing to be got. When you stop trying to pull her back, something primal in her starts leaning forward. Because you've stopped chasing, so now she wonders what she's losing, and it drives her insane. You think women are logical about this? They're not. They feel, they sense, and what they sense in most men is a restless, clumsy hunger. It's why women test. Why they say things like, "Are you always this quiet?" or "Why don't you ever compliment me?" It's not a request, it's a probe. She's searching for weakness, for neediness, for that little boy behind your smile. And if she finds him if you flinch, explain, or react, she's gone. But if she finds nothing but silence, nothing but steady presence, now she's unsure. She questions herself. Why can't I figure him out? Why do I want him more when he gives me less? Because the feminine is drawn to mystery the way fire is drawn to air. That's what silence is. Not emptiness, but controlled mystery. Imagine this. She says something flirtatious, something suggestive, and instead of responding with a compliment, a joke, or a story, you just look at her, not blankly, not passively, just present, grounded, silent. She laughs awkwardly. She adjusts her hair. She fidgets. Because now she is carrying the tension and she can feel that you're not chasing it. You flipped the frame. You've stopped being the man reacting to her and started being the man she reacts to. But that shift only happens when the inner voice is dead. When you stop asking yourself, am I doing this right? When you stop obsessing over what she thinks and start obsessing over nothing at all? Because when your mind is still, your presence is undeniable. The reason you've been invisible to the women you want isn't because you're not tall enough or rich enough or funny enough. It's because you've been too loud inside. Every time you text her twice before she replies, every time you hover around her energy hoping she'll engage, every time you explain a joke she didn't laugh at, you confirm what she already suspects, that she owns your attention. But when you break that pattern, when you stop explaining, stop reacting, stop chasing, she has nothing left to push against, and that silence becomes unbearable to her. Because now you're not predictable, you're not available, you're not hers, you're sovereign. Women don't crave control over you. They crave the feeling of chasing something they can't quite name. And if you give her silence, not coldness, not distance, but true masculine stillness, she'll feel it. She won't be able to explain it, but her body will respond. Her energy will shift. Her tone will soften. She'll lean in, because your silence has created a vacuum, and nature abhors a vacuum. But here's where most men fail. They can stay silent for a moment, but not through the storm. The real test isn't on the date. It's after. When she pulls back. When she delays her replies. When she hangs out with other guys and posts stories and tests your reaction. That's when the inner voice will scream. Do something. Text her, show her you care, but that voice is not your friend. It is the ghost of every rejection you've ever internalized. It is your fear of being forgotten. It is the little boy in you begging not to be abandoned. And women can smell him from across the room. You must let him die when she pulls away. You stay still. When she tests you, you laugh inside. When she stops texting, you live anyway. Because every time you choose silence over panic, you rewire yourself. You become the man who doesn't need, the man who leads, the man she can't stop thinking about because you're not giving her the one thing she expects, your neediness. Kill that voice, and you'll watch something miraculous happen. Women start orbiting you. Not because you're performing, but because you're anchored. Because silence is more seductive than words. It's rarer, more dangerous, more magnetic. And when you master it, you stop being the one who waits. You become the one she waits for. You're sitting across from her in a dim-lit lounge. Candlelight flickers on the table. She's wearing red. Not blood-red temptation red. Her voice is soft, but her eyes are calculating. She's beautiful, but she's testing you. You don't even notice the test until the 5th minute. That's when she says it. I usually date guys taller than you. You smirk. You don't respond. You sip your drink like she commented on the weather. And now you've shattered her rhythm. Because that was bait. A trap? A trigger she expected you to flinch at. Most men do. Well, I'm taller than I look. Or height doesn't matter when you have confidence. Or even worse. How tall is your ex? But you didn't bite. You didn't defend yourself. You didn't explain. You didn't laugh nervously. You just existed. And now she's curious. She doesn't understand why it didn't land. Her eyes narrow just a little. Her fingers swirl her drink. Are you always this quiet? You lean back slightly. You say nothing. Just hold her gaze. Calm. Steady. Like you know exactly what you're doing. Like her approval doesn't mean a thing. Because it doesn't. Not really. This isn't arrogance. It's detachment. You're not here to impress. You're here to enjoy. She doesn't get to dictate the pace. She doesn't get to direct your attention like a puppeteer. You are not performing for her. You are observing her. And that silence is suffocating her. Because silence forces her to confront herself. It makes her wonder what you're thinking. It makes her ask why she wants your validation so badly. It makes her feel exposed. And that's when the shift happens. She leans forward. She touches her hair. She starts volunteering more. I'm actually not usually this dressed up. I had a long day. It's been kind of a weird week. Now she's the one explaining herself. Now she's the one earning space in your reality. That's the power of a man who doesn't flinch. But let's rewind. Earlier that day, before you left for the date, the voice was there, whispering. What if she's not into you? What if you run out of things to say? What if she ghosts you after tonight? You didn't argue with the voice. You didn't try to silence it with affirmations or hype or mirror pep talks. You just heard it and didn't obey. That's the trick. You don't kill the voice with noise, you kill it by refusing to kneel. Now, back to the bar. She asks if you're seeing anyone else. You smile, slow and quiet. Why do you ask? No defense, no reveal, just tension, just gravity. She laughs nervously. I don't know, you're hard to read. Exactly. You're not showing your hand. You're not trying to be understood. You're letting her sit in the unknown. Because that's what keeps a woman obsessed the space between certainty and doubt. Too many men give it all away in the first hour. They reveal their emotions, their plans, their feelings. They unload their hunger like it's romantic. But all she feels is pressure. And pressure kills attraction. But mystery authentic. Grounded mystery that creates obsession. Because now she's thinking about you before bed. Not because you told her everything, but because you didn't. She's replaying your silences, your glances, that moment you didn't flinch when she teased your height. You've created psychic space in her mind, and that space echoes. Now she's the one pacing. She's the one checking her phone. She's the one asking her friends, why do I like him so much? And they don't know either, because there's no text to analyze, no breadcrumb to track, no weakness to dissect. Only presence, only silence. You see, a man who is truly present, so present he doesn't perform, doesn't explain, doesn't seek is terrifying. Because he's free. And nothing is more seductive than a man who doesn't need. That's the moment she falls. Not when you compliment her. Not when you text her back fast. Not when you show up with flowers. She falls when she realizes she can't shake you. Because you're not grabbing, you're not chasing, you're not proving. You're just being, and most women never meet that kind of man. Most women meet boys in men's bodies, boys who dance for attention, who apologize for desire, who shrink under pressure. But you're done being that boy. You've learned to let the voice speak and keep walking anyway. You've learned to sit in silence while the world demands you flinch. And now, without trying, you are the gravity. Here's the myth they sell you. Women love a man who opens up. Wrong. Here's the truth. Women love a man who's already whole before she arrives. They say, be vulnerable. Show her your fears. Cry in front of her. And what they don't tell you is that there's a difference between authentic depth and emotional spillage. You think telling her about your trauma makes her feel closer? You think unloading your insecurities makes you real. It doesn't. It makes you hers. And she hasn't earned that. You are giving away something sacred, your internal world, before she's earned the key. That's not intimacy. That's desperation dressed up as honesty. The man who doesn't need to be understood is the man she obsesses over, because he's not demanding emotional labor. He's not bleeding all over her lap hoping she'll bandage him with validation. He's still collected. Sharp. She doesn't feel pulled into his pain. She feels pulled into his presence. That's what separates you from the masses. Your silence isn't cold. It's composed. Your lack of expression isn't withholding. It's control. Control she cannot touch. And control is the thing that makes her spiral. Not because she wants to dominate you, but because she wants to melt into you. And a man who leaks his soul on command gives her nothing to melt into. He is already soft, already scattered. You become magnetic when your soul is a fortress, not a hallway. But here's the bitter part you've been taught to perform from birth. Your jokes were rewarded. Your sensitivity was praised. Your approval was shaped by external applause. And now you're wondering why it doesn't work on women. Because women don't want a performer, they want a pillar. The louder you try to prove you're valuable, the less they feel it. So what do you do instead? You learn to live in silence, not just around her, but within you. Silence when she takes too long to text back. Silence when she's testing you with jealousy. Silence when she flakes, ghosts, or goes cold. Not passive silence, powerful silence. The kind that doesn't punish her. The kind that says, I'm not moved. You are not her emotional sandbox. You are not her therapist. You are not her second father. You are the one thing she doesn't understand and cannot control. You are the mirror she avoids because it reflects her own chaos. And the irony, that's what pulls her closer. She's been surrounded by men who chase, explain, cry, beg, confess. She doesn't remember them. They bled out too fast. But you said little. You didn't flinch. You smiled once, then watched. She remembers that. She replays that. She wonders what you think of her. She wonders what she did wrong. She wonders if she ever had your full attention or if she's still trying to earn it. That's obsession. And it's not manipulation, it's alignment. Because you've finally stopped treating her like a goal. You've stopped trying to buy her interest with emotional access. You've stopped trading vulnerability for attention. You don't speak for validation anymore. You speak when there's truth, and when there's no truth, you stay silent. The voice in your head, the one that told you to open up, to explain, to fix, to earn is gone. And now something else has replaced it. Presence. It's in the way you walk, the way you sit, the way you pause before you speak. It's not performative. It's not practiced. It just is. And women feel it. They don't analyze it. They surrender to it. Not all of them. Only the ones worth having. Because only a woman who respects strength can fall in love with silence. And only a man who silences that inner voice can become the kind of presence that commands respect, attention, and devotion without ever needing to ask. So the next time the voice says, say something, do something, explain yourself, you'll smile quietly, and you'll do nothing. Because you finally realized the man who says nothing becomes everything.